Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Charmer Familiar Possessed deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck is an extremely fun deck to play that I've included all sorts of spicy tech cards in. This deck can make some really amazing boards and send out some crazy powerful boss monsters. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name description in a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, for the Familiar Possessed monsters, we're going to be playing a single copy of the Earth Familiar Possessed, one copy of the Wind Familiar Possessed, one copy of the Fire Familiar Possessed, and a single copy of the Water Familiar Possessed. I feel like 4 is the perfect number for this build. These cards are extremely nostalgic, and they're basically just vanilla monsters in this build because you're never using their effects. They're 1850 attack point spellcaster monsters that work with a bunch of the spells and traps we're playing in this build, but I love playing all 4 of them because you get all 4 of the alternative artworks, which is just super cool. We then play 3 copies of Fairy Tale Luna. Fairy Tale Luna is an awesome 3-of because this card has 1850 attack points as well, and it's a spellcaster monster. But this card has an awesome ability that when this card is normal summon, you can add a spellcaster type monster with 1850 attack from your deck to your hand, which means you can search itself or any of the familiar possessed monsters that you want, which is amazing. It also has the ability you can target a face-up monster that your opponent controls, and your opponent can send one monster from their deck or their extra deck to the graveyard with the same name to negate this effect. Otherwise, bounce both this card and the monster you targeted back to the hand, which is a really good ability to be able to use because if your opponent's only playing a 1-of with that monster, it just bounces the card, and then you can follow up the next turn to be able to normal summon this card out to, again, to be able to get an additional search. It's like a Stratos as well, which is just really cool. We then play 2 copies of Archfiend Eater. Archfiend Eater is really good in this particular build because if you control a spellcaster monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, making it a great extender. We then play a single copy of Gigabyte. Gigabyte's really good as a 1-of in the build as well, because this card is a great extender, just like your copy of your Archfiend Eater, with the ability that if you control a spellcaster monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, but it has a great bonus effect that when this card is destroyed by battle by card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can actually special summon a monster with 1500 attack and 200 defense from your deck, except another copy of this card, so you can actually special summon Archfiend Eater off this card's effect, which is a great ability. We then play a single copy of Awakening of the Possessed Archfiend. This card can actually special summon itself from the deck, which is why we're playing the Archfiend Eater at 2, because this card has a really great ability that you can special summon this card from your hand or deck by sending one face-up spellcaster monster and a face-up level 4 lower earth monster that you control to the graveyard. And it also has a great ability that when this card is special summoned by this effect, you can actually special summon a level 4 or lower monster from your graveyard to your side of the field, but negate its effects, which is a really cool ability to use with this card to instantly get you to a copy of a monster that you send to the graveyard off this card, essentially tagging out one of your monsters for this card. I love that about this card, and it's just really good. We then play 3 copies of Zoroa, the Magistus of Flames. This card is crazy powerful in the deck. It's actually how you summon out the Magistus of Calamity. This card is an awesome boss monster to play in this deck, and it makes it very easy to put this card on your side of the field, because it has a great ability that you can actually target a Magistus monster that you control and equip it with a Magistus monster from your extra deck, which you're always targeting itself with that ability, to be able to equip a Magistus card to this card, because if this card becomes equipped with a Magistus monster card, you can actually special summon a level 4 spellcaster monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position to your side of the field, but its effects are negated, which is totally fine because we're just trying to get a level 4 on the field so we can make our Synchro monster, which is just super cool. We then play a Dogmatica package in the deck. So we're going to start off with 3 copies of Ecclesia. Ecclesia is really good because if there's a monster on the field that's special summoned from the extract, you can special summon this card from your hand to your side of the field, and it has the ability, if it's normal or special summon, you can add a Dogmatica card from your deck to your hand, but you cannot special summon from the extract for the rest of the turn, which is totally fine because with this main deck, you can swarm the field really easily and get a bunch of monsters on the field, so Ecclesia is just a really good card. We then play a single copy of Dogmatica Fleur-de-Lis. Fleur-de-Lis is really good to be able to search off your copy of Ecclesia's effect because this card just helps out a lot because it's a walking negate, and it also boosts up your Dogmatica monsters by 500 attack points, which helps you OTK your opponent. We then play a single copy of Maximus. Maximus makes it so that you can get rid of cards out of the extract, which is really nice because you can banish a Fusion or Synchro or Exy or Link monster from your graveyard to be able to special summon this card from your hand, and during your main phase, you can activate this effect to send 2 monsters with different names from your extract to the graveyard. Also, your opponent sends 2 monsters from their extract to the graveyard as well, which is just really good to be able to send cards from the extract to the graveyard. I love that about this card, and it's a super helpful card in the deck, especially for a spicy tech card we're playing later on. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's a definite 3 on deck just to stop your opponent from touching the deck. I absolutely love this card, and it's one of the best hand traps in the game. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start off with a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is definitely a one of the deck just to stop your opponent from hand trapping you while you're going in for all of your plays. We then play 2 copies of Awakening of the Possessed. This card is really cool as a 2 of them because monsters you control gain 300 attack for each different attribute that you control. And Charmer and Familiar Possessed monsters that you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. And if a spellcaster monster with 1850 original attack is normal or special summon to your side of the field, you actually get to draw a card, which is amazing to combo with your copy of Fairy Tale Luna, because Fairy Tale Luna will give you a search and this will give you a draw, which is just really cool. We then play 3 copies of Spirit Charmers, which is actually the name of the structure deck that all of these cards came out of, which is really nice. You get to discard a card and then take 2 cards from your deck with different names from each other that are Charmer monsters or Familiar Possessed monsters and or possessed spell or traps, and add one of them to your hand and set the other to your side of the field, which is a really cool ability. We then play 3 copies of Nadir. Nadir works extremely well in this deck as a 3 of, because this card actually helps you get your copies of your Dogmatica cards. It lets you send a monster from your extract to the graveyard and then add a Dogmatica monster or Fallen of Avaz from your deck or graveyard to your hand that has attack less than or equal to the sent monsters, which is really cool, but it locks you out of the extract for the rest of the turn, which is not that big of a deal because you're instantly getting to a copy of your Ecclesia, which is what you really want to get out of the deck. We then play 3 copies of an extremely spicy tech card that we're actually going to lay face down and play Guess That Card with. This card is a really spicy tech card in the deck, and it's just super cool in this particular build, and it's a really powerhouse spell card. So I'm actually going to reveal it in 3, 2, 1, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, guys, because we're on the road to 100k subscribers, and every subscriber counts. So let's go ahead and see what this card is, and comment down below what you think this amazing tech card is. So it's actually going to be 3 copies of Duality. Duality is really good in the spicy tech card I was mentioning earlier with your copy of your Maximus, because you can actually tag your Maximus out for a copy of Dragoon or even Fleur-de-Lis because they're actually spellcaster monsters that are originally light and spellcasters and level 8s. So you can tag them out for a copy of Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, which is just really amazing to be able to summon out Red Eyes Dark Dragoon with that ability. I love that about this deck, and it makes it super easy to be able to make a really powerful monster on your side of the field, and it's just super cool in this deck. I absolutely love that, especially since it's a quick play spell, so you can set it to your side of the field and just be able to instantly get a Dragoon on the field. It's just really cool to have a negate in the deck. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start off with a single copy of Dogmatica Punishment. Dogmatica Punishment is really good as a one-of in this build. So we have a bunch of really good targets in the extract for this card that actually lets you target a face-up monster your opponent controls and send a monster with equal or higher attack from your extract to the graveyard. And if you do, destroy that monster, which is a pretty good ability to be able to use with this card. We then play 2 copies of Unpossessed. Unpossessed is really cool in this build as a 2-up, because this card is actually going to help you out quite a lot in this deck, because it has the ability that charmer monsters that you control cannot be destroyed by battle, and if a familiar possessed monster that you control attacks an opponent's monster, it gains 800 attack and during the damage calculation only. And if a monster that you control is destroyed by battle or by card effect, while this card is already face up in your spell and trap card zone, you can actually special summon a spellcaster monster with 1500 defense from your deck, whose whose attribute is different from at least one of those destroyed monsters' original attributes on the field in attack position or in face down defense position, which is a pretty good ability to replace one of your monsters. We then play 3 copies of Possessed Partnership. This card is so good in the deck that it's a 3-up and has the ability to let you special summon one spellcaster monster with 1500 defense from your hand or graveyard in attack position or in face down defense position. Then, if you control monsters with 2 or more different attributes, you can destroy one face-up card on the field, which is a crazy powerful effect. You can also banish this card from your graveyard and then target a possessed continuous spell card in your grave and place it face up on the field, which is just such a good effect to be able to use with this card. I absolutely love that because it's just going to help you in so many ways to instantly get to the plays that you want to with this card and also pop cards on the field. It makes this card a definite 3-of in the deck. So that's it for the traps, guys, and the main deck. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with a single copy of Zoroa the Magistus Calamity. This card is so good as a 1-of in the deck because this card can be a skill drain for an entire type of card, which is super cool. If this card is synchro summoned, you can equip a Magistus monster from your extra deck to this card, and your opponent cannot activate the effects of monsters with this same card type, Fusion, Synchro, Exy, or Link, which is super cool because we actually play a bunch of different types in the extract to be able to lock down your opponent between Link, Synchro, Exy, and Fusion, which is just super cool. I love that about this card, that it can lock down an entire type. It can also bring itself back from the graveyard because if this card's in your graveyard, you can target a Magistus card that you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon this card because it's like a phoenix rising from the ashes. This card just comes back to the field. We then play a single copy of the Divinity Dragon. This card is just to be able to equip to your copy of your Calamity, which is just really cool because then it can lock down synchro monsters. Play a single copy of the Despian Lulu. Despian Lulu is the main target that I'm going to be sending to the graveyard off of the copies of Nadir and even Dogmatica Punishment, because this card is great in the deck because it has a great ability that if this card's in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can special summon a light spellcaster monster from your hand or deck, whose attack equals its own defense, which is a great ability to instantly get you a copy of Ecclesia on the field. We then play a single copy of Magistus Witch Wardrobe. This is the XZ monster that we're using in the deck, and any of your monsters that are equipped to your copy of your Calamity actually give them bonus effects. And this card's really cool bonus effect is that it actually gives the ability that while this card's equipped to a monster, you can target an effect monster that your opponent controls and negate its effects until the end of the turn, turning your copy of Calamity into a walking negate. We then play a single copy of the Magistus Spell Spirit, which is our fusion monster we're using in the deck to be able to equip to our copy of our Calamity. And this card is great because if it's equipped to an opponent's monster, by this effect, you take control of the opponent's monster, but if it's equipped to one of your monsters, the equipped monster gains 1000 attack and defense, which is a great ability. We then play a single copy of the Dusk Dragon. This is another Dogmatic Punishment target that we're playing in the deck, and this card is a great effect that you can actually have the ability that if this card is in the graveyard, you can use the ability that basically you can banish this card from your field or graveyard to special summon a Dogmatica monster from your deck, which is just super cool. I love that about this card, and it's just super powerful in this particular build to be able to use that effect. I have debated dropping this card for a copy of Elder Entity Nist, but it's still really good in this particular build. We then play a single copy of Titaniclad. Titaniclad is another card we're not summoning in the deck. We're just using this card for our Dogmatica Punishment. And it's really good because you can have the ability that during the end phase, because if this card was sent to the graveyard, you can actually add to your hand or special summon a Fall of Allbats or Dogmatica monster from your deck, which is a pretty good ability to use on this card. Again, I have considered, because I'm playing both of these cards in the deck, dropping the copy of Dust Dragon for a copy of Elder Entity Nist for the copy of Dogmatica Punishment, so you get a double pop, which is something you guys can change if you want to. We then play a single copy of Red Eye's Dark Dragoon. This card is summoned off of Duality, which is amazing, using a copy of Fleur de Lis or a copy of your Maximus, because they're both basically light spellcaster level 8 monsters, so you can use duality to summon out this card, which is just super cool. We then play a single copy of Access Code. Access Code's amazing in this deck to be able to pop multiple cards on the field. It's very easy to swarm the field in the deck, which is just really cool. Play a single copy of Nightmare Unicorn to spin stuff. One copy of Selene. Selene is really good in this deck as well, because this card is basically Monster Reborn for your spellcasters, because we play a lot of spells in this deck, so this card is really easy to pull off. One copy of the Light Charmer. Light Charmer is amazing in the deck, because we do play quite a few lights. We then play a single copy of the Earth Charmer. Earth Charmer is also extremely powerful in this deck as a 1-of, because it does help out in this particular deck, so we play a lot of Earths. One copy of IP Masquerena, because we can use this card to be able to make our copy of Unicorn during the opponent's turn to spin cards. And finally, a single copy of Artemis. Artemis is really good in this deck because you can equip it to your copy of Zeroa, and then it gives you a search, which is really good. As well, this card is equipped to a monster. You can add Magistas monster from your deck to your hand, which is a great ability to use with this card. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy it. And again, if you guys want to include an Elder Emptiness, which is something I was debating about, you can drop the copy of, say, Dusk Dragon for it to have another Dogmatic Punishment target, because the extra deck is a little bit tight. So that's it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely check out the other videos on the channel. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because we're on the road to 100K subscribers. So anyways, guys, that's it for this one. And we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.